Alex Answer here. It is the 16th day of January in the year 2017. We're going to talk about the dangers of the bystander effect. And this is really a large topic. I've really been thinking a lot about this with regards to Costia County and with regards to other things taking place in our world, including those that, pretty much stand by and allow people from other countries to be demonized while they themselves don't like to be demonized if, say, they may be concerned that they're on a list or things of that nature. They may be concerned about their own government judging them and calling them terrorists. But we see a bystander effect there as well, where people stand down where others are, without evidence, accused of being a threat. So there's various aspects of the bystander effect that I want you to come to terms with, because there may be some aspects of the bystander effect within you. And as a subscriber to this channel, you're here to gain information that can help you in your life and your soul. This isn't about ratings. I'm not a brand. I don't tap dance. As I spoke about in a recent video, I'm very different than others in the independent media, or what some call the alternative media. And I'm constantly bringing up themes regarding self-responsibility to help you evolve beyond the confines of this matrix. If you are silent about the horrible things that happen to others, how are you going to ensure that in your own life and in your old age that those same things don't happen to you, and judgments? So we also take a look at city people that may look down upon those that are homeless without realizing the real economics of the street and of this country that are taking place. Of course, you're going to have some people that are a big fan of Barack Obama. They're going to believe that our economy did great the last 8 years. You're also going to see a little of that controlled schizophrenia where you see people that don't like Barack Obama that will cite the fact that our national debt has doubled, and they'll also say, go out and get a job, you bum, without really respecting someone's right to freedom. There's a lot of people out there with regards to off-grid politics. They don't see how some people should have the right to be left alone, and they don't have much of an interest in realizing and studying and discovering on their own how compost toilets, things like that, are safe. You don't really need to have to shell out thousands of dollars in permits to have permission from a county that says that they have rulership, like an archon. They have the authority to tell others that you only have the right to pay taxes on your land. Now get the fuck out. So people want to know if things are safe in Costia County. Well, I answered that question in a recent podcast. Hell no. But the question is why? The question is why. Ask yourself, where were the Americans that came to the aid of those that were kicked off their land? Where were the lawyers? You had a lot of bunch of people that came out of the woodwork, common law, sovereigns, things of that nature. But what about like legitimate lawyers to go, hey, maybe like an ACLU? No, nothing. Here we are all this time later. Oh. And what has the bystander effect led to in Costia County? There are people that are losing their homes now, or losing the right to live in their home, that don't have the money for a lawyer, that kept their mouth shut for the most part when others were being victimized. I'm not saying all, I'm saying some. And I talked about this then. There was a certain strategy of people, well, maybe if it's like that Japanese saying, don't be the nail that stands out, you'll be the first one to get hit. So they've been implementing a strategy, lay low. And like others in this country, because you can learn something from the Costia County residents, others in this country have the same attitude. Let me just lie low. Folks, this isn't code for violent revolution. Sometimes you need to stand up and report on something. Just get the information out there. This is the day and age of, in many ways, the media being under attack and being a scapegoat for a lot of corruption. And there is a role that people can play with easy access to Facebook and YouTube and social media. You can be the media. Steer away from this hate on all forms of media, which you see some other people leading you into. So there are some of you that actually have allegiances, by the way, to certain political candidates, and I know for a fact some of you have this within you. The bystander effect. being that, you're watching YouTube, you're getting reports something's happening to others, and then I brought up multiple times for my audience to think about. I really wanted you to consider this if you were around a year ago. What do you think people's issues were with helping Daryl Carter and getting the word out that a Vietnam veteran was being kicked off his property around Thanksgiving? What was the deal for you? Was it an assumption that somebody else was going to report on it? Or, there was a woman in town that said she would report on it, and she did not. Someone killed the story. Someone killed the story locally, I believe, when that writer from the Valley Courier, was attacked in an op-ed for her reporting in Costilla County. Her reporting in Costilla County all of a sudden took a dive. Ended. Abruptly. So the bystander effect, with regards to this county, we can see various forms of it, and then you yourself can look at the macrocosm. How are we seeing the bystander effect in our world? And how are some people misled into thinking the only way that you do something about change is you start a war with the cops? You see those people that are acting like agent provocateurs in our midst that want to lead us into problems. And then we see the cops get defensive anytime someone wants to film them. They are programmed as well to see the person with the camera as a threat. Why are you worried? You're worried about your actions because you know that you've done wrong. And we could cite examples of when cops and others, other enforcers, other authorities, other archons will demand that cameras be turned off in certain situations to where they feel the pressure on them. If they were innocent of wrongdoing in their own mind and heart, they wouldn't have an issue being filmed. We have a bystander effect in this country, and it has become a big problem. And I preach balance in the middle way in various aspects of my philosophies and information as shared on this YouTube channel. Subscribe here for news. A lot of information. This is really a database of knowledge and information. And some of the wisdom that I've stumbled upon, I don't know everything, but I can tell you, wow, there are great dangers in just sitting there and just thinking that someone else is going to come to that aid being victimized. It could be a situation in a mall. Well, eventually, somebody just call the cops. Eventually, the cops will be here. And you have a gang of thugs, and they could be beating somebody's head in the ground and, groping the girlfriend or wife. And everybody else is just assuming, well, the cops are coming. Well, this thing has gone on for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They start looking around. Where are the cops? Where are the cops? There's also another video regarding the bystander effect. You have two women that are fighting at a Walmart. I mirrored this channel, or mirrored the video a few times. And the little kid gets involved and actually starts attacking the other woman with a bottle of shampoo. I kid you not. Now, I don't know how much WWF this kid was watching, but definitely it's probably one of those scenes where the woman gets body slammed by the aggressive male. But to see the little boy get involved in beating up a woman at that young age, and then having a little bit of spirit to it, a little bit of spite, and the way that he was swinging that shampoo bottle, people were so shocked the kid was seeming so demonic, they seemed afraid of him. And that happens a lot. Bystander effect, because people get afraid. Not necessarily because they don't care, because they go into it's like a deer caught in the headlights. They're like, I can't believe I'm watching this. So you have a group of people that are filming this, and if it wasn't for them, we would have never even seen that. But people were really angry at the people that were just the bystanders. Why are you watching this? You have two women that are out of control emotionally, and one woman is beating the other woman's head into the ground, and her son is helping her. Again, that was the son of the mother that was on top. So she was already winning. Winning. Lady, you're already winning. Don't be telling your kid. Jesus. And the people are going, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. Another video of mine, Creepy Joe Biden touching children in inappropriate ways. People are ending up on the channel and they're commenting and they're flabbergasted. Why is no one doing anything about this? I just don't understand. They don't want to understand when it's explained to them. Honey, ma'am, this was filmed and put on C-SPAN. This isn't hidden footage. This isn't secret footage. This was on TV. Okay, are you looking at why was this televised before the world? Are you asking like the meteor questions? They have your questions? The questions that will yield perhaps more answers, although they won't come all at once, but be willing to look for the truth. So let's look for the truth. Why did America stand down when the off-gridders are being victimized? Why are they still standing down? If code is not law, where are the lawyers? Show me the money. Seriously, can you feel me now? Do you know where I'm going with this podcast? Do you realize that this bystander effect is like universal? And eventually the bystander effect will go down when Americans are victimized. And they'll just tell the world about all the horrible things that Americans did to others. And the people will pay for the crimes of the selections, the misleaders. And that's going to be very, very sad. So there's various causes for the bystander effect and various ways in which it's very devastating. As for myself, I have this rescuer inside me, compulsive healer inside. I want to go and I want to fix things. I want to help people. I want to bring light to certain issues. And I have found myself coming to the aid of others that have fallen succumb to the bystander effect. Their attitude could be, fuck them. Fuck those people in Costilla County. Those people are trash, somebody might say. I'm not going to help them. We shouldn't help people. Screw them. And that can come from the mouth of someone that lived in Costilla County for over a decade. And so they can go about their own little way. Whoa, wait a minute. What's this letter here? Get off your property. Well, fuck you, Costilla County. Oh, yeah, maybe you're right, Alex. Maybe they are going to rezone. You think? You think? You think I was right? Oh, now? You see, because I'm pretty sure a few months ago the same person was all for the Obama national monuments. Not attacking this person. This is a real key study of human psychology regarding the bystander effect and someone that I would call a friend on A level. So here this person I haven't seen for months, and I'm sitting here stuck. I'm snowed in. I can't make it to the store. I really could use some extra propane. My generator's not even working, by the way. So I'm pretty much, just so you guys know, on a side level, I'm having to actually fire up the RV to actually charge up my batteries. It's not an efficient use of gasoline. But I also have solar. So I'm sitting here on the bare basics. It'd be nice to see somebody once in a while, and somebody comes over, hey Alex, look at this. Like, holy shit, yeah, you've been victimized now. That's fucked, man. But I always saw that coming. I remember thinking, look, dude, they're going to come after your property. No, they're not. I'm grandfathered in. I'm okay. They're not. I'm not a newcomer. I'm an old timer. This is a perfect example. Bystander effect. I'm not going to be affected. I've been here a long time. I'm an elder. There's like something they respect. No, the county doesn't respect that. They're eventually going to go after the people that kept their mouth shut. And now it begins. I'm glad, by the way, that some of you are getting this message that we're considering Costilla County. You literally are better off living as a traveler on BLM land. I kid you not. Everything dramatically changed from that period. Some of you saw my videos in Costilla County a long time ago. Some of you are being duped by ads on Craigslist or the internet or LandWatch or other websites to where they professionally flip land. And the reason why they're able to flip that land over and over and over is they sell it and the county takes it back and the people don't get off the land. They follow a lien. And it ends up, I haven't tracked this, but it almost seems like the county and some of the land sellers are in some sort of a partnership. Constant flipping, making the profit. And if the person doesn't comply, boom, lien on their land, get them out of there. But keep collecting the taxes. Interesting. You can even call it a racket. Now, how does something like this go on in a day and age where supposedly Donald Trump has attracted the attention of disenfranchised white Americans? Now, I think it's sad that people have gotten really racial on all sides. On all sides. And perhaps it's my multiracial nature, and I talk more about that on this channel, that has given me a bigger view. And I don't identify with one particular group. So my background has played a role in me identifying with this thing called the soul or spirit over the body. That has affected my outlook on a lot of ways and has kept me out of the idea of racial inferiority or superiority. And I know this goes contrary to what some of you may have come to believe. And I also stay on a regular basis. I will not in any way, shape, or form be of assistance to those that are stuck in the illusions of separation. And I don't want to make the mistake of coming to the aid of others that are stuck in the illusions of separation. So whether you like me bring up the fact that I'm multiracial or not, I also do it to protect myself from some of you. As I recall, a fan of mine, he said he was at least, in Netherlands, one of the few people to, in Colorado, hey Alex, I really like your content, let's meet. And then met what a freak show his friend was. As he ranted about multiracial people and things of that nature. It's like, wow, these are really the types of people that listen to my channel and invite me out for a drink in my own state. Pretty psycho. So just to let you guys know, they're getting a little irritated. I have to protect myself from some of you that don't have the screws intact. Meanwhile, also recommending that those of you with a higher than average intellect or attention span, or those with a big heart, I'm telling you, man, this bystander effect is no good. There's ways that you can help run websites. There's articles that you can write. We can create, and I'll make another video about this later where I talk more about this, a national off-grid coalition for people to be forced into homelessness at a time where they should be able to get out of Dodge more than any other time. That's like threatening our lives. When you're dealing with county officials that are kicking people off their land, and citing land use codes and saying it's all about protecting the environment while literally jeopardizing someone's life by saying, no, go out and sleep in the streets. Fuck you. This is our land, not if you didn't pay for it. Okay, the person that owns the land, that paid for the land, that's paying the taxes on that land, they should have a right to not be forced into the street. I heard the story recently about someone that built a log cabin in Costilla County who is now homeless in New Mexico, living in his vehicle. And this is another person that not once did he come down to any of the meetings. And not once did he ever contact me or, Alex, good job. It was like they were afraid to do that. So I'm really disappointed. I'm also against people taking violence against the police, but don't you find it kind of odd that you hear stories about violence against innocent cops, and we don't even have like lawyers on a legal level coming to the aid of those victimized by the enforcers in Costilla County and filing counter lawsuits? Like, hey, you're threatening to take away people's land, put a lien on people's land? There's no way that Costilla County can be operating completely within the law, but they are using the law to their benefit. And there are people that have been employees of Costilla County that have found themselves on the other side of the law as well. Some of us are aware of those things, and then there's the things that we don't know about. So, look at my Costilla County playlist series. Hear my grievances regarding how I was treated by a local population, targeted by local enforcement, and how they surveil every video on this channel, to see if there's any information they can use against me or others, and understand how sick this is. How many of you watch this channel? How many of you say that you're fans of this work? And yet how can we take that type of affection for the reporting and actually get the story to the people that can help? Because I'll tell you what, as I told somebody that commented, you're not being accurate if you say that it's illegal to live off the grid everywhere in Colorado. There are exceptions to the rule, and some counties are more flexible than others. And some areas where there's a dispute, it may be because someone else has a serious interest in claiming that land later or settling on that land. Once the riffraff is moved out, then they call their friends, Louis Bacon and others. Then there was that guy that worked for BP. And then others involved in the whole Costilla County thing that want the new poor off-gridders, and even the The off-gridders without septic tanks that have been there for 15 years, 10 years. They want them out too because they want the land for themselves. They want the land for themselves. And they see the danger in cheap land to them having all the land to themselves and all the views to themselves. They don't want to have anyone obstruct their view. In fact, Tim Liggett sued the Taylor household because they blocked his view. They blocked his view. Now, I'm not here to come to anyone's aid 100%, with regards to some of these individuals. Again, as I say, it's interesting to know that some of the people that are being victimized in that county, as we study it as a micro for a macro, as we learn more about the world by studying one particular scenario and the politics involved and the human psychology of today's day and age, you have people that literally had an attitude of not coming to the aid of others that later were affected in some way, shape, or form, or an attitude of fuck 'em, a fuck 'em attitude. An attitude of all that is of concern to me is myself and mine. And see, I'm trying to encourage people to get out of that mindset because it is not fruitful. It is not fruitful. It is not wise to be in the state of all you got to worry about is just you and yours, you and your girlfriend, or you and your boyfriend, or someone you're married to. It's important that couples that are on the conscious path hear this because I see nothing but trouble coming to those that hold on to this attitude for their whole life. And it's almost manic, but there is a whole world out there bigger than you and yours. And so the bystander effect is actually very strong in this nation through the couple matrix paradigm. They become a couple, they become a unit, and then they may be very absorbed with the pleasure or drama. That means negativity. I've seen a lot of men drawn up in the negativity regarding the woman that they're dating, and they come across as mentally ill. They come across as destabilized. There's a guy I knew in Portland named Steve, and I actually can remember some of the times that he reached out to me. He wanted to talk about all this drama with this woman and this dude that he was getting into fights with, who was like, her new boyfriend. And the drama went deep. There was allegations of stalking and him being thrown in jail and horrible things happening. And yet I don't recall Steve actually being a friend to me. He actually came across more as a sex addict, as he would brag about, the next young hottie that he was dated. So the person that I perceived at one point to be a friend, and we'd have interesting conversations, by the way, in particular about the sun affecting human consciousness. And I remember before I even got into the Archons, Steve asking me if I was into Zoroastrian studies. And I guess there are some Gnostic-leaning elements to that he may have picked up on, whether he was very conscious of that or whether it was subconscious. So I saw value in Steve. I was disappointed to see that Steve, like a lot of men, hoes before bros, was on this sex addiction, go out and have sex with strippers, go out and do drugs and act, drive around in your SUV, big truck, this being a party. Oh, you got a house over here on the other. Oh, you get married, now you get divorced, now you get married, now you get divorced. Like, dude, what the fuck is going on with you? And then to see them not really be a real friend. If, say, you need somewhere to park or you need, say a friend in your life. Bystander effect. Bystander effect. Oh, then of course you have the women that go, oh, well, our karma's good, their karma's bad, we're never going to get trafficked. We're Americans, they're Afghans, or they're Iraqis, or they're on the other side of town. Those are white trash, we're on the nice side of town. Like, there are ways that people build up illusions of separation that aren't based on race, but simply geography. They're on the other side of the planet, they're on the other side of town. So Portlanders will play that game. That's their karma on the other side of town, on the other side of the tracks. Our karma is good and our pussy is golden, and we're up here on the hill looking down like a goddess, admiring our supposed positive karma. Bullshit. Bullshit. Now, I will also spend additional time on the New Agers in our society that have shown no compassion for the homeless. With their bystander effect, it's their karma. They want to be homeless. I've heard it before. Some of you have heard it before. More bystander effect. So the people that end up in bystander effect consciousness eventually have things come and hit them. like a brick. And I say that metaphorically, but it literally could come literally being hurled by either a gang that wants to abduct and sexually assault them, or abduct and sexually assault their family members or their loved ones, or just simply to attack them with a brick and keep running. And see, there are many elements of evil that I discuss in these podcasts, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed also, and I mentioned this also before in the podcast, you have people out there attacking innocent police, and yet you don't see like a peaceful, legal response to some of the crimes that police have committed. So it's like we're living in a mental asylum here in the United States, but not limited to the United States, in no way. But here on this world right now, we'll just look at the whole world. It is like a mental, insane asylum, where there are people that scream about revolution and discrimination against whites and Donald Trump, and they put their energy behind these systems that are co-opted. But when you really have a clear-cut case of discrimination, of classism, of someone being forced into homelessness, what does the nation do? Now, this is really interesting because let me talk to you now about what I see in our nation's future. I see many American refugees with nowhere to go. There's a little bit of irony in this, and it's not something that I look forward to. You think I look forward to the day where there are literally millions of people on foot leaving Oregon and California, heading for places like this? There are people that have had visions of this, by the way, a massive flight away from the West Coast. Would you care to be amongst those millions? With what little food they have, and people screaming and crying, and people looking for a place to shit and feeling humiliated, and those women with, they're no longer just the luxury of a shower, constantly running the luxuries of the grid, now halted. Now halted. Countless people on a freeway, perhaps leaving their belongings, leaving their cars, for they see for miles and miles the cars are going nowhere. It could be a checkpoint. It could be some sort of a disaster. It could be a sinkhole. There is no spoon. There is no road. And so you would have a lot of people flipping the fuck out. All types of entitlement issues would come out. And then, of course, you'd have this, well, where are we supposed to go? Where are we supposed to go? I mean, you're literally telling us we have to go to a camp, and we can only take one bag, and we can't have a firearm, and we can't have self-defense, we can't have sharp objects, we have to have only approved FEMA items. What the fuck is that? Seriously, there'll be a sign. No, you are not entering with more than a bag. You are not entering with this, that, and the other. Forget about your makeup. Forget about your photo album. Take your essentials and run. Some of these people aren't even ready. And so some people, what about that off-grid thing? You think we can go off-grid now? You think there are places left? What, after America keep their mouth shut? And they went one county by county by county by county, and all the people that were living in the grid kept their mouth shut. You thought, oh no, I'll just go out to Coastia County or some other place in 2018, 2019, and everything will be fine. Look, like I said, there are certain places that may be safe if you can get there, and if you have enough gas, heating fuel, food, water, and you may need something to defend yourself, especially if your karma is really fucked up. I honestly think the better your karma is, at least you're going to have to worry about some of that stuff. And I think the fact that I've made it this far, and I'll be 37 this year. A lot of people said I'd be dead or assassinated by the government a long time ago, and instead I think that I've grown up to be an adult to show you that one man can stand on his own 2 feet, be an extreme racial minority, and not let certain factors of the world and injustices turn me into a monster, but instead to show compassion for you all, every one of you, and not just Americans, and to let you know it's my compassion for you and your soul when I say you really shouldn't keep your mouth shut about the millions being killed in Afghanistan and Iraq, and you really shouldn't be annoyed by me bringing this to your attention. You should at this point realize I'm trying to help you. And I'm trying to show you that the same people that hurt them are planning to hurt you in this country. And they're the same type of entities and organizations that don't want you living off the grid, which is why it makes no sense if you're an off-grid advocate for you to have voted in the last election for pretty much anybody. There's some people making, Gary Johnson, Stein, I'm over here now. And I don't really believe they're legitimate either. But it could be argued that at least you didn't vote for Clinton, at least you didn't vote for Trump. At least you didn't vote for Sanders. But Sanders, Clinton, and Trump represent the system. Even though there's people on both the left and the right that want to be free, that want to wear their tie-dye t-shirt, that want to go out and shoot their guns and go, America, fuck yeah. But the reality is they are part of the system that's taken away your rights. And so if you know that they are infringing upon the lives and rights of those in other countries, why think that they're going to have a different view towards you? Or why not care about others and expect people to care about you when you are victimized? How does that work? How does that work? How would, by the way, people around the world not succumb to their own bystander effect if they hear about Americans being raped, women being hurt, people disappearing? Because they're going to be hit with all this propaganda, making Americans subhuman. Maybe even based on things that haven't even happened yet. Countries not even bombed or nuked yet by America, but will later. Could this lead to demonization of the American people and a bystander effect as the American people are hurt by the armies of death that may one day march on this nation, the headhunters, to where literally we see the oldest occupations coming back, human trafficking, as we see literally wars to protect our women. Even the women are saying, I don't want your protection, I'm free now. This is a conspiracy for you to control me. That's another subject. The way that they have divided and conquered this country and have made men like me that are sounding the alarm and the warning seem like the sinister ones plotting the attack themselves. That's psychobabble. And I've come across it. So we have different things going on at once, ladies and gentlemen. We have Stockholm Syndrome, people having sympathy for their captors. We see this from immigrants. We see this from Americans that are born here. It's not something that discriminates. It's not something based on race or nationality. And so there are people that I've actually heard say, well, maybe you should go get a septic. Fuck, man, stupid new people, only to see them get evicted as well from their property because their home is not up to code. You see, the septic thing is just one of many things to get a quote-unquote occupancy permit. So we use the war on off-the-grid living as a template, as an example for our discussion here with regards to this phenomena called the bystander effect, and using direct parallels between a situation where someone has been beat up into a mall, and this is filmed, and the people stand around and watch. Or maybe a woman sexually assaulted, and others stand around and watch, either because they don't care or because they're in fear, or they play off each other and other things. Maybe in a little new age hysteria, oh, it's their karma, and other things. And as I've said in other videos, that is never an excuse. I believe that is immoral to say it is their karma, or they deserved it, or they're trash for the persecution of others, or the allowing of others to be persecuted while you watch. I'm going to conclude here now that I've really covered the meat of this podcast, the main points, the things that I want you to take away. It's like a 1-2 punch. The first effect is the actual crime committed by the offenders, or the immorality, or the injustice. The second punch, like a 1-2 punch or the cross, is the population standing down. And they may literally spin around blaming politicians and then pointing their fingers. They really ought to be looking in the mirror and asking themselves, what have I done? What have you done to bring awareness to the situation? Have you even contacted the ACLU? Do you know any lawyers that could provide their expertise, even if they're not licensed in the state of Colorado, to go about responding to this in a peaceful, legal way? You know, the other way, other than a peaceful, legal way, is for people to get upset and have a fight with the cops, and they can end up shot, dead. Should people literally go out in a blaze of glory? If they literally want to go somewhere and be left alone, should they be baited into a situation to where they feel that they have no other option other than to have a standoff with the police? Should we not work to give these people another option? And is it not in the interest, it seems, of some of these counties to create a standoff with people if they choose to not leave their land while they try to take the land underneath their feet by following a lien? You see, the truth is, if someone really wanted to assassinate me or kill me, they could, or cause major problems for me. And I have seen how I have already survived certain things already. And instead of surviving up to a point and saying, well, now it's time to just become selfish, I realize where my good luck has come from. And there are various ways in which I felt that the good things that I've done have come back to me. And it hasn't come back to me in exactly the way that I've wanted it to. And I've also seen people that have come after me, bad things have happened to them, and it's a phenomenon. And this actually goes back to my childhood. But there seems to be some really negative karma that comes across those that come across me with harm or intend to harm me. And I've noticed that there is a lot of good that comes to people that have helped me in some way. And I think that's subconsciously why some people have chosen to donate to my work, is just this awareness that there is a point to helping me in my mission to help people around the world, and I cannot do it alone. So as I wrap things up here, the whole off-grid thing has been a wound for me because I put out a lot of good info and a website, and I'm hoping to see America wake from its slumber. I can talk about how people have been kicked off their land. They've been so traumatized by it that they don't even write about it. And I even see this as spiritual warfare. It's bigger than what most people will ever speculate about or get into, what's really going on here spiritually with the war and off-the-grid living. But it is very deep, and it's a part of a greater agenda. And those of you that see this Agenda 21 and greater agenda, you of all people should want to help those that already made their way outside the cage. So maybe a way can be paved for you in 10 years, or less than that, 5 years, to get outside the city. If you stand by while others are kicked off their land, and you don't even try to do the most basic thing to help them, what makes you think the universe will send help your way when you need it? Those are my closing statements. I'm Alex Ansary signing off for this day, January 16th, 2017, 3 o'clock in the morning, around the time that I get up, because I have my own unique hours. I go to sleep very early with the sun, and I rise before the sun is up.